Wild Game Tame Garden. Jill and I are out in British Columbia, and the question for today is, can you prove the existence of God? I would say yes and no. So stick with me for a minute. There's something called apologetics. That apologetics is a defense of Christianity. Does that mean you're apologizing for your faith? Not at all. The word apologia is used to mean a defense. Where does that come from? 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 says, always be prepared to make a defense for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and reverence. Number one, Christians, in your arguments or conversations about Christianity, you have to be winsome. That's what that verse says. On the other hand, defense, apologia, means you have to back up what you believe in. So can the existence of God be proven? I would say yes and no. Here's what I mean. Classical apologetics, C.S. Lewis, Lee Strobel, R.C. Sproul, they will take arguments from creation and reason and from the Bible, and sometimes they will say, you know what, let's pretend that we didn't have the Bible. When you go outside, you know there's a creator. They would use verses like Psalm 19, Romans chapter 1, things like that, that creation points to a creator. So they use reason, intellect, or mind to kind of prove Christianity. In fact, Lee Strobel was an editor for the Chicago Tribune. He set out to disprove Christianity. The great thing about that is when somebody sets out to do it with an open mind, they end up becoming a Christian, which he did. So Lee Strobel looked at reason. There's another one, the case for Christ. That's it. He makes a case for Christ, reason, intellect, understanding, and so forth. Okay, that's one branch. The other branch is a guy named Cornelius Van Til. He believes in something called presuppositional apologetics. Here's what he means. We can't say, let's pretend the Bible isn't the Word of God to have a rational debate, because it is the Word of God. It would be like me saying, let me pretend like I'm not a human. Well, I can't do that. We have to presuppose that the Bible is the Word of God, that there is a God in creation. I lean more towards Van Tilian apologetics. It's a big way of saying that presuppositionally the Bible is true versus reason and intellect. But somewhere in the middle is where I find myself with apologetics. So, having said all that for Wild Game Tame Garden, would you say you are more the classical version or the presuppositional version that there is a creator and the Bible is the Word of God? Jesus said, for those who have ears to hear, let them hear.